In the last video, we learned that triads are constructed of intervals of stacked thirds. So starting at the root, we go up a third and land on the third degree of the scale. Then we add another third above that and land on the fifth degree of the scale. And this is the strongest sounding triad in any given key signature, given that it's built on the tonic and contains the three principal tones of the key, the first, the third, and the fifth. It gives us a strong sense of home base with regards to the tonality of the specific key signature that we're playing in. And we then looked at building triads on the fifth degree, or the dominant degree of the scale, and also on the fourth, or subdominant degree of the scale. But triads, or chords, can be built on any degree of the scale, not just the first, fourth, and fifth. And the meaning, or function, or quality, or role of any of these chords depends on the degree of the scale that it's built on. So we can say that the root tone of a triad, together with the degree of the scale that it's built on, determines a triad's function. Now we've seen that triads built on the tonic, the dominant, and the subdominant degrees of the scale are considered primary triads. Well, the triads that are built on the other degrees of the scale function as auxiliary or supportive triads to these primary triads. So let's look at the triads built on each scale degree in the key of C. Here's our first example. I'm going to show you the notation. And there we are starting on the 1 chord, the C, the tonic, and then starting on the second degree, the D, we build a triad again using thirds. So a third up from D in the key of C is F, and then on top of that is A. Starting on the third degree, we get E, G, B, and so on. Let me play you these and show you what they sound like. So I just want to drive home again what's happening here. All we're doing is starting on each degree of the scale and stacking thirds on top using the notes of the scale. So we see here that the chord built on the first degree is major, the one that's built on the second degree is minor, and we identify it as such because the interval between the first and the second degree of the chord, or second note in the chord, is a minor third and not a major third. D to F natural is a minor third. The chord built on the third step of the scale is also minor, again identified because of that minor third interval there between the first two notes. And the chords, or the triads built on the fourth and fifth degree, like we saw in the last video, are major. Again, that's because the interval here is a major third between these bottom two notes. The sixth degree is minor, and the seventh degree is what we call a diminished triad. And what diminished is it means there's a minor third interval between the first two notes of the triad, and there's also a minor third interval between the second and third notes. And it's these two stacked minor thirds that identify this as being diminished. All the other triads on all the other steps, whether they're major or minor, have an interval of a perfect fifth between the first note and the third note, between the root and the fifth degree, except for the diminished. That has an interval of a diminished fifth. And that, again, is what gives it its diminished quality. That interval of a diminished fifth as opposed to perfect fifth. So this applies in any key that we're in. You can build triads starting on the different scale degrees in any key, and they're always going to follow these rules of these chord qualities. Let me show you this example in E. I'm using different chords here, different keys rather, because I want to get you familiar with the different key signatures and not just do everything in C. But here's the key of E, and I'm going to play you what this sounds like. So it sounds the same as the other key. It's in a different range. It's higher up on the keyboard, but all the chord qualities are the same because they're all built on triads starting on the different scale degrees, and there are no accidentals in here, meaning we're using only the notes from this key signature. E is 4 sharps. So we can say then as a rule that in major keys, triads built on each scale step are as follows. The 1 chords are always major, 2 chords are always minor, 3 chords are always minor, 4 chords are always major, 5 chords are always major, 6 chords are always minor, and 7 chords are always diminished. Now that's assuming we don't alter any of the notes in the triad and they all follow the scale tones. We can further identify chords, though, by their diatonic functions using Roman numerals. Now this is a really important and flexible means of analyzing harmony. Among its many advantages are the ease of transposing chord patterns or progressions into different keys. Uppercase Roman numerals are generally used to indicate major triads, and lowercase Roman numerals are used for minor triads. And a lowercase Roman numeral with a degree symbol is used to indicate a diminished triad. So let me show you what this looks like. Here's our first example again in C, with all the triads built on the different scale tones, but they're identified by Roman numerals. A capital 1 for the 1 chord, a small 2, small 3, and small 6 all indicate minor triads. And the large case Roman numerals for 4 and 5 indicate major. And for the 7th degree, we have lowercase 7s indicating minor, but with that degree symbol indicating that it's diminished. So Roman numeral analysis allows us to apply harmony to any key signature easily. Let me show you another example here. And I'm going to ask you to figure it out in a moment. But just to recap here, by identifying the step of the scale upon which the chord is built and its quality with Roman numerals, we can easily take any chord progression and apply it to any key signature. So here's the next thing I want to show you. I have a bunch of slashes here. Key of F major, there's my key, 1 flat. I want to have a little chord pattern that consists of 1, 6, 4, 5, 1. So I want you to take a moment and figure out what those chords are. Pause the video if you need to, and when you're ready, I'll show you the answer. Here we go. Here are those chords now. Key of F major, 1 is the F chord, 6 is D minor, 4 is B flat, 5 is C, and the 1 is F. So we don't need to say F, D minor, B flat, C, F. We can just say 1, 6, 4, 5, 1, and it means the same thing, but it applies equally to all keys, whereas saying F, D minor, B flat, C, F have different functions depending what key they're in. So Roman numerals as a way of denoting chord functions and triad functions. Here's another little quiz for you. Key of A major, 3 sharps, same chord progression here, 1, 6, 4, 5, 1. So you tell me, what are the chords going to be? Pause your video if you need to, and here's the answer. A, then we have F sharp minor, and then we have D major, E major, and A. So when you get familiar with all your keys and scales and triads built on each scale step, you can easily take Roman numerals and explain and illustrate chord progressions using that. So that's it for now. A little bit of homework I'm going to leave you with. Go through all 12 major keys and go up and down the triads starting on each scale tone in each major key and get comfortable and familiar with that. And in the next video, we're going to start looking at how all this works with the different minor scales.